Good evening. Welcome to the Selectmen meeting of March 28th. The first item we're going to discuss on the agenda is Chris Hansen and discussion of impact fees. Hey, Chris. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Good evening, guys. Chris Hansen, Assistant Code Enforcement Officer, also a resident at 34 Haskell. Tonight I'm here to speak about impact fees. During the last year's budget process, it became evident to me that the town has increased services to its citizens. The rec department's been added, the library's been added, public works, codes, public safety, all have grown. This growth has increased the need for more infrastructure. Public Works is looking for funding for a new garage. The rec department needs new tennis courts. I'm suggesting that the town look at implementing impact fees to help with the pressure that growth puts on the town budget. My experience with impact fees comes from my service to the town of Wyndham. They have had impact fees for recreation, sidewalks, open space for over a decade. While I was there, they added public safety impact fee and a municipal impact fee to offset renovations and expansions to these facilities. These impact fees are not like real estate taxes. They're a one-time fee established by the town and are collected when new building or subdivisions are approved and only assessed once. The fees are part of the permitting process and established by the planning board at the time of project approval. Impact fees are not going to be a silver bullet for this year's budget, but are a way to save for the future and a means of procuring funds to ease the burden of growth and development. So that's my Reader's Digest version of what impact fees are. I can take questions. I have a little bit of experience with it. I'm not an expert, but one of the things I would suggest is that I'm also a member of the Comprehensive Planning Committee, and this would be something that could be looked at in depth by that committee and then brought back to the Select Board at a later date with more information and direction.
You have, this is only for new development, is that correct?
Correct. And they offset the needs for infrastructure caused by whatever development is going on. Let's take, for instance, the condominium project that's being done on Route 85 right now, 25 condos. That's going to put more stress on recreation. It's going to put stress on our schools. It's going to put stress on our roads and public works. So the impact fees are used to offset those new demands. They're not for salaries. They're not for existing needs. They're for needs of the future. So this is something that would be it's like a savings program, but it's borne by the people that are coming to town, building new houses or new developments, as developers do, and it's got to be directly related to that impact. So Wyndham's done it for open space. They've done it for recreation for years. They added two new impact fees when I was there for municipal improvements to the town hall because they needed to expand it. They were out of space. Same thing with public safety down on 302 across from the high school. To pay for that $3.5 million, they started charging impact fees to the developers. So every time there's a single family house goes up, there's a fee. I think in your packet are some impact fees from surrounding towns that'll kind of give you an idea where they are. They're also used as a tool to control growth. I don't know that we need that, but go ahead, Don.
Oh, I'm looking for Joe.
Oh,
go ahead.
sorry.
But since you gave it,
No.
So you issued
your
the
birthday, so.
yeah. So you issued the permits, and so the big question would be, what's the reaction of developers?
Well,
homeowners. What does that look like?
I got to tell you, I was very surprised because we added, when I was there, when I first started in Wyndham 5 years ago, a single-family house permit was roughly $1,500 to $1,800. Then they added these impact fees, and the impact fees added another $3,000 to $3,500 per permit. I never got a complaint. These developers are making the money, they're building a $500,000-$600,000 house, it's passed on to the consumer. And it's a very small part of a $500,000 house. They don't even blink an eye.
Well, yeah, they are really small. I mean, I'm just looking at these. So why would some of these other towns adopt it, but not no fees established? So would we establish our own fees? Is there a
Yes,
guidance?
we would establish our own fees based on the impact of growth. Obviously, Wyndham is one of the fastest growing towns in the country. They have been for 10, 15 years. They adopted it to help offset these costs of growth and development. Raymond is not growing at that growth rate, but you can start slowly with these fees, and I just see it as a way that, we can help Public Works and help the rec department, library, whatever the needs are. And it's going to take some work to figure out what these fees should be, because they got to fit the community. That's why I'm saying I would recommend that you direct the Comprehensive Plan Committee to start looking into it. We don't have to do it. It's just something I think that would help our town grow, and it wouldn't be a tax. It's not a burden on somebody that's living in town unless they build a new house, or unless you're building, doing a development on your property.
Why don't we send this to the planning board? Why would it go to COB?
Well, because it's related to growth, and it's tied into how you manage growth. The Comprehensive Plan Committee is based on a Growth Management Act, and in that Growth Management Act, came out of that was the impact fee legislation in 1987. I think Brunswick was the first town to do it, then York, I believe North Berwick, and then it's moved to Scarborough and to Wyndham and to Portland and South Portland. We're on the fringe. Towns north of us don't really do it, but the towns south of us, where all the growth is, do.
Yeah, but we're starting to get sucked into that growth.
Yeah.
Absolutely we
people
are,
start
because there's no
moving out
place
this
else to
way.
go.
The other thing I would say about, the Comprehensive Plan Committee is that our consultant, Ben Smith, was the planner in the town of Wyndham. He's very schooled in this and has worked in other communities on it as well, as I understand it.
Yeah, who's the architect
So, I mean, you
of
could
the
have the
impact fees
planning board
one.
look at it too, but I'm feeling pretty confident that the Comprehensive Plan Committee would see the merit in this, and we have the consultant who has the experience.
Well, I mean, if it goes to the comp committee, which it's fine for them to look at it, but if you're looking at it from a timing standpoint, you're 2 years out from the
Absolutely.
comprehensive plan, which then it's still got to go to the planning board because it's an ordinance change. So if you go to the planning board now with guidance from them, doesn't that short circuit some of the time?
Well,
That's what I was thinking. It's like,
I get your
years
logic.
out.
I get your logic. Maybe the thing to do is bring it up at a Comprehensive Plan Committee meeting the next month, and maybe we have a discussion, and maybe they say, with Ben Smith on the team, yeah, let's send it to the planning board. I'm just throwing it out there as an idea. I'm not,
Yeah, I'm not suggesting wait 2 years.
Because
So there's going to be,
2 years is 3 years. Because
Right, well, I
two
think-
years to get there, then it goes to the planning board, which means it ultimately ends
Right.
up going to town meeting, which means, so if you go 2 years, you're really 3 years. If you go now, then you're 1 year.
so back to Dawn's discussion about having Ben Smith look at it, who's going to be the planner for the Comprehensive Plan Committee. He has that knowledge. I'm sure Jim Seymour at Sebago Technics probably has the same expertise. So if you want to do this quicker than wait a couple, 3 years for the comprehensive plan, you're right, Rolf and Joe, to get working on it now. And I'm not opposed to that. I think we
the
can do
other
that.
comment I would have, and we'd have to have something custom tailored to our town, and of course, we'd have to understand what's allowable or not under law, but we have a different kind of development here than Wyndham. I mean, Wyndham has a proliferation of single-family homes. We have that, some single-family homes, but we also have these very, very high-end homes that they don't have, seasonal homes. So I'm not sure that the traditional model, it's going to have to be looked at from the perspective of Raymond and what kind of impacts are coming to our town.
I agree with you. They need to be tailored to the town of Raymond. That's
So it may
what
be
they're about.
something, it may be something that's on a graduated scale based on permit versus a fixed amount or something like that. I just don't know. We have to look at all that.
Yeah, absolutely. I did look into it, and I didn't see anything that said you could that's prohibitive by the law, but it would have to be.
Based on valuation type of?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so, Don, can we, Lonnie, you got something?
Please, I had a question back when it was a Reader's Digest statement, and I thought he was gonna stop. And I was just going to just reiterate that it's a great idea to have this, and it is not a unique fee, but it's not like a totally normal fee, but it's exactly what it says, it's an impact fee. If you're gonna bring in development, I've been around towns and cities and states that in order to put a development in that, X amount of acres, they had to build a school. So having an impact fee in the town of Raymond is a fair thing that the person or company causing the increase in whatever it is, they have to have a little bit more of a push into it and some blood in it, because they're causing that increase. They're causing that impact to need more of a school or to need more recreation. So I think it's a great idea. Thank you very much, Chris, and anyone else involved. And hopefully the comprehensive or the planning board will definitely feel that it's a great idea too.
So I think we're going to leave this, Don. I think you bring it up to the comprehensive plan committee at the next meeting. And then from there, say, hey, we need to push this along, if we're going to have it take effect quickly, and make recommendations send it to the planning board. And is your planner started already?
No, what's going to happen at the next meeting is there's going to be a discussion over the scope of work and an adjustment to the contract to reflect what parts of the comprehensive planning process the committee feels they can do. So then we'll enter into a contract. We haven't done that yet, but we're very close. And that's going to happen at the next meeting. And I won't be at the next meeting on account of my surgery, but Chris, you can bring this up. You're the expert anyhow.
Absolutely.
And so Chris will be the staff person attending along with Sue for that meeting.
The whole point is we want to move it along.
Yeah.
I get it. Yep, no problem.
Okay. All right, thanks, Chris.
Have fun.
Happy
Happy
birthday.
birthday.
Thank you.
Going anywhere good for dinner?
What's that?
Going anywhere good for dinner?
I think we're having lobsters at home.
Nice.
You know what?
Bring some for us.
This
If there's any left.
hold the party for a little bit and just take it down to his house,
Thanks.
Thanks, Chris.
Bye.
Have a good night.
See you tomorrow.
All right, okay. Can I have a motion to,
Move to go into executive session, discuss by possible acquisition of property pursuant to RSA 405-6C.
Second.
moved and seconded, all in
Second.
favor?
Yep.
Can I have a motion to come out of,
Out of executive session?
Second.
all in favor? We're out of executive session. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes of March 16th?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Okay. Next.
Budget changes memo.
All right.
Have there been any other changes since this memo that came to us, March 24th?
There have been no changes from the administration, but there was a discussion about the public safety cuts and I think an alternate option discussed today.
Yeah.
And so I think Bruce would like to address that with you, and I think he's cognizant of the desire to make the cut, but I believe he's got a different proposal if you'd entertain that.
Yeah.
So how do you want to go through everything though?
Well, we have the memo. We can work off the memo. Right?
Okay. Oh no, where is the?
All right, Bruce. So you found $1 million. That's real.
2.
Even better.
Do I get half of it?
Yeah.
Got found $2, yes. That was it. So, hang on 1 second.
I'd like to hand that out if we can. Yes, if you could. Paperclip does not want to release it.
All right, thank you.
You can give some to the people behind you.
Thank
Mm.
Yeah, right.
That's Bruce. Very much. So you got with Kathy and Sharice today.
Yes, we had a meeting.
Welcome back from your vacation, by the way.
Yeah, thank you, and my apologies again for not being here last week. I wish I would have, and that we could have sat down and collaborated prior to the meeting, et cetera, if there were any issues, but we had it scheduled for like 4 months prior to the meeting schedule, and so my wife told me that was not happening. I figure a divorce is pretty expensive, so I better abide by her rule. Anyways, so we sat today and we made several changes to some of the accounts here to basically fit the request. Everything we've done, obviously, in terms of manpower, staffing, payroll, salaries, that is, does have some consequences, and it does mean some less responders available, if you will, in the terms of standby folks. So as you can see, though, in the column, the 24 proposed budget and everything that's highlighted in red has some major changes that go with it. Those changes are listed in the column beside it. The hope here is that we're able to keep our staffing request for both full-time people so that we can achieve the goal of having every shift have 3 people 24/7. It's vitally important that we achieve this goal. If not, we'll have only 3 shifts with that, and one will only be running 2, and we'll be short on those, et cetera. And those things in itself will create some issues for safety for us. That's absolutely for sure. It's pretty self-explanatory as you walk down through it, but as a brief overview, we cut 2 standby shifts throughout the day. We trimmed back some per diem pay, which means less per diems availability. We also cut some monies out of heating, out of electrical. We cut some out of vehicle maintenance. It was hard to predict, obviously, where the fuel and utilities are going to go. We still really can't predict that. So it's kind of a gamble, I guess, if you will, when we put those budgets together. We based them on what we were experiencing when we wrote the budget. Basically, that's where we're at, and we're at a bottom line, I believe, that fits your request. Any questions, comments, concerns? I guess that's the brief rundown to keep it short and simple for you.
Still looking over.
So we end up in the same place through a different method. I should say that, it was, we were a bit under the gun last week, trying to come up with the changes that were, needed to reach the goal. And so, our apologies. I mean, we made the changes that we could make, and I mean, it wasn't a deep dive analysis that you could do with, as you did today with Sharice and Kathy. And so anyway, so I guess to me, I mean, to my way of thinking, I mean, we've ended up where we need to be. Yes. Through a different method and maintain the staffing. Is that the shorthand on it?
That is the very short Reader's Digest version, for sure. Okay. 4 of us sitting in a room, Lee and us, we all sat together and came up with ideas.
Go ahead, Lonnie.
I see a couple of them that jump out at me. Of course, you hate to alleviate personnel that's needed, but it sounds like Chief can handle with what he has. So my only other piece of, I hate to short on any training that's needed. And it's $1,000. I mean, that little bit of training was that. Because other than that, I think you did a good job with it. Thank you.
Yes, and the training piece, basically since COVID has happened, we haven't rebounded in the going out of town so much. Those classes aren't available. We've kind of internally put together everything now, so a lot of what we do is internal and through computer programming. I think we can sustain that until out of town classes, out of state classes open up, and that's where we really get the expertise levels built up for our firefighters.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
How much money was moved to TIF? is there any?
It was a little over 11,000 that was going from public safety over to the TIF. We did a percentage based on the call volume, average call volume.
Because the building's in the 302 zone?
Yeah, and they serve the TIF district, yeah.
Equipment can also be used. Equipment's allowable under the TIF.
Well, right, but you mentioned over 11,000, so you've gone, so from this memo on the 24th, you've got several things that go over the TIF that definitely add up more than 11,000.
Well, there's also from the CIP, 20% of the principal and interest on the new fire truck payment that will be in 2024, which I believe was about, we've got it under the TIF one, 11,000.
Wait a minute.
So that and 20% of the equipment was moved to the TIF. Which was 6260, yeah.
See what you're missing, Teresa, the stuff that's in the CIP isn't showing up in the fire department budget.
Right, it's a separate
That's over in the
CIP account.
CIP. So
Well-
they moved some from the CIP to the TIF.
Right, and that's what I'm looking at here, then the 17,000 would be from the CIP account, correct? The public safety equipment?
No,
Five.
debt service, because the lease
service.
pumper truck, we have a lease payment on that.
So, all right, then what is the 17,873 then? I'm missing something. The fire department, just to be clear, fire department budget transfer 17,873 to the TIF. And I understand it allows so much of it.
Yeah, it's 6260 coming at a total out of public safety equipment like turnout gear,
Radios.
SCBA. So 6260 out of the public safety equipment line, and then 11,613 out of debt service.
11,000, sorry, how much?
613.
And that's
Debt
for the
service.
payment on the new fire truck. 20% of the payment.
So then technically what was in this earlier memo is no longer, like the 5,000 in fuel and stuff like that, or
No,
is
he-
it?
Yes, we
Yeah.
just made additional increases
Yeah.
that Bruce has in the spreadsheet that he just passed
You
out.
gotta
to
read the
you.
bottom here.
Yeah, at the bottom, it gives you each line item.
Those ones in the memo did not change, Teresa.
Okay. You also cut your equipment repairs and maintenance to 0? Am I missing that?
Well, it's kind of a duplicate line. You know, there's an equipment line and then there's equipment repairs and maintenance. So, it's been falling under the equipment, whether that be new equipment or equipment repairs. He does have firefighting equipment, which I believe is what he uses for new equipment.
Yep, yep. The equipment repairs is just that, repairs and maintenance, and the other one is new.
The confidence in 45,000 in new revenue?
With the increase in rescue billing from 180,000 to 220, I believe. we went to.
25?
225. We
225?
actually hit 225 last year, but we hadn't booked it.
Okay.
So,
I mean, I don't want phony numbers. I want to be able to hit these numbers. So if you hit 225 last year, you got a pretty good baseline to say, we can hit it again.
what percentage do we pay on the rescue billing?
8%.
8%, okay.
It's a very old contract, though, I will point out.
Yeah,
It is.
You won't get 8%.
How come we get, yeah, I mean, maybe it just didn't come over when some of the things went through, but I didn't see it in the 2022 budget in the thing, that cost for that was a blank line.
It's in the fire
23.
department
Yeah,
billing.
yeah.
So we increased the billing.
I understand what you increased there. All I'm saying is it didn't show up there, so I can't really see what we paid in 2020, because we brought in, we brought in more, so that line, so essentially you went over budget on that line, but it doesn't show up anywhere.
Right. Sharice can look it up, but to date for 2023, we're at 9,528
No,
at 8%.
Actually, that's probably low, because maybe there, depends on when they bill you for that.
Right.
But, you know, when I look at 2022, when you had 220, you had about 220 or so on income, you should have actually overspent that budget line, but it doesn't show up anywhere.
She would have to find out. Not everything will fit in the spreadsheet.
Okay, so in 2022, it was actually in the administration budget. And,
The 8%,
yep,
So we had it in the administration then instead of in the.
not in public safety?
correct. So in 2022, it was $16,468.
Okay, so essentially you overspent that line. Which is understandable, because it offset by the addition, but all I'm saying is you essentially, you overspent a budget line, but it's not showing up someplace.
Right.
All right.
So that's in addition to, by moving it into the fire department, so it inflates the fire department
Yeah, last year.
budget, because last year,
But we did that last year, so you're still year to year.
All right. Any other questions for Bruce? Thank you, Bruce.
All right.
All right. Technology, 25,000 from CIP. All right, why are we reducing the videographer?
Based on where we are year-to-date as of February 28th, I think it was a little over 2,200. So we didn't really feel like it was necessary to have a budget of 10,000. We only got 4 months remaining.
Okay.
I think we've had that number for a while, and we've not hit that number for some time. I mean, we try to stay full staff, but even so, we're not hitting that number, I guess.
Yeah, I think last year's budget was 7,500, and it was increased to 10 this year.
Okay.
Oh, okay, I thought we had,
Are we billing the RSU for the videographer when they're doing the,
Or they bring their own?
We are
No, it's our
not
staff.
billing them.
they use ours.
They use ours?
Use ours.
And we pay for it?
Yes.
Since when?
Don? Are we just nice people?
I think it has to do, originally, I'd have to check this, but it's the policy I think they have with Wyndham as well. But that doesn't mean we can't change it. I'll have to look into that. I mean, I don't
Okay.
think it's a big issue. I mean, we can bill them. What do they have, every other month, a meeting here?
yeah, not every, it's
Every
once
a
every
month.
other meeting is here.
Every other meeting, so once a
Once
month,
here,
so
once
12
here.
meetings here? Okay.
I mean, it's not like they like us.
Well, it's just, yeah, I mean, that way, you know, if we're doing that, we're looking at the number of hours of the videographer.
Yeah,
You'd essentially have that as an offsetting income line.
I think when we were looking at this, because I think it did come out before, and Sue had, researched it a little bit, I researched it. I think we felt that, with them allowing us the use of the gym for voting purposes,
That's another point.
that's a, kind of a quid quo pro situation, and I
Plus,
don't,
this broadcast studio belongs to the school? Or is it ours?
This is ours, but what she's saying,
School
is,
property?
it's on school property, but they've been cooperative with the rec program and letting us have use of their facilities for that.
And for
so that, I
voting.
forgot about that issue, the quid pro quo idea that,
Yeah.
they've cooperated with us, we cooperate with them. But I think there was also the Wyndham thing originally, and so, but there's nothing that prevents us from charging them,
Nah.
Let it go.
but I think
Let
we're
it
also
go.
looking for,
Let it go. Don't worry about it.
Don't
Okay.
stir up a hornet's nest now, yeah.
All right, recreation. Joe, we're not removing lifeguards.
No. And we're not removing the 7,000 either.
We'll regret that if we ever did.
Yeah,
Yeah, no.
so put those back in.
Okay,
There you go. You're all done.
that's it. All right.
All right.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Okay, I'm just taking.
All right, Nathan.
Oh,
Public, what?
1 second. Can we put that number back in there so we know what that number is going to be then for the rec?
12,000.
$12,000.
12,000, I mean, but what's the total number in the rec area now? I want my numbers to be correct. So if we go to recreation,
So,
Sorry.
151,084, then add 12 is 163,084.
I have 164,084 instead of 151. That was the last one you gave us at the last meeting.
Yeah, but this one reflected the changes.
So is there something else that was taken?
The snowmobile club, we took out of there, so that's really
yeah.
not the Raymond Rattlers. We moved
That moved
that
into
to TIF.
Okay, so
That
the
was the other-
151,084 plus
We had it-
12,000?
yeah, so it becomes 163,084.
I'm gonna be caught up. All right.
All right, Nathan. 11,200 for sand?
Correct.
No, put it back.
I mean,
The reason,
we use a lot of sand.
Put it back.
We get a lot of
And,
bills.
and he is also the catch-all department, so if something is broke, fixed, needs to be done, it ends up usually coming out of his. So if he's got any kind of buffer, he needs that for something that needs repaired, like either whatever it is, that needs to go back in.
Yeah, let's put the sand back in. How about this correction on the CIP?
CIP was,
A
that was,
double count?
no, I budgeted 225 last year for equipment. And when I was doing my numbers this year to make sure I had where I was supposed to be at, I was running it off 215 from the previous year. We put the 225 in there last year because equipment's costing more money. And I felt we could take the 10 out of that because the dump truck has gone from 179 or 189 to almost 300, so we're probably going to end up financing the next truck anyway. The CIP equipment account is used for purchasing of new equipment and stuff that we have major breakdowns. We paid for a motor out of that account last year. It's kind of the safeguard for my maintenance account too,
So why would you take 10,000 out of it?
because I felt that I should to be a team player.
isn't there a little more, I mean, maybe I'm misunderstanding what happened. I thought there was in a couple different places.
No, it's just the sand for the 11,200 for the sand and 10,000 out of equipment. I was a little bit hesitant.
Because what this memo says, it was included in the operations budget.
That's how I wrote it, because that's what I first understood.
Okay.
That's inherent.
All right,
Stand to be corrected.
so,
So we're going to add 21,200 back in the public works.
oh, you're looking at that one.
So it'll
Yeah,
be,
but no, because the one came out of the CIP, so if you're gonna add it. you gotta add it
11,200.
back
oh
in
yeah,
Yeah.
10,000 into the
10,000
CIP and
and
11,200.
308, this one.
So the budget would be 930, 356. 930, 356.
933.56 on Public Works. Oh, 56, right?
All right, library.
Well, I don't think we were booking these numbers. I mean, we're trying to, reach your goal, asking all of the different
Yep.
departments. And so I'm going to say that the library is, we were understanding that as well, correct?
Yes. She said we
So-
could take 2,000 out of library programs and 2,000 out of.
Right, but I'm
books
saying
and
that
media.
we got the direction as to, where we were going with this, so we didn't plan on that.
It's been taken out.
Correct. And the Public Works too, although there was a misunderstanding apparently on that. So, but we took it out anyway. We had taken it all out anyway. We didn't book it.
They came in low. I say put it back. They've been doing so many programs for the town, working with the rec, and the more programs they have, plus they are a moneymaker as far as making money.
Yeah, what I'm saying is that we didn't take it, so.
You didn't,
No, we did take it.
We did take it
Yes.
Well, I
out.
thought we put it back in on
We
Friday.
took out all the recommended or
on this-
suggested or proposed changes from the last meeting. We built those into the new budget numbers. So like the 11,200 for sand, Joe's 5,000 for salaries for the lifeguard,
On Friday, we were taking all of that out.
correct.
And so that's where I wanted it to be, was out.
And it is out.
Okay, that's what I want.
Tonight, it's a decision whether to put it back
We're
in.
putting it back in. As far as the library.
No, I mean, out of consideration for, we were trying to reach the goal on Friday, and the idea was that we wouldn't count those reductions.
okay, let's do this. Is the library, let's just put the programs back in there.
programs and media.
Yes,
Okay.
please.
4,000.
But then on the revenue side, you're gonna add the 30,000.
So you do want to, that was a decision that you folks made, because we had made the recommendation that investment doesn't mature until May 24th of 2024.
But according to you, there's no penalty.
There is no penalty, but by the time we get to that date, the fiscal year's over. It's totally up to you folks.
Well, I mean, the whole purpose of that money was to be able to
Yep.
use. for-
Is that the only money you have invested with that firm?
Yes.
That 30,000?
No.
No, it was 130,000.
Right.
Yep. And 75,000 came over from their operating account. We were expecting 60-something, but we actually received 75,000.
Yeah.
I mean, so if, so if we take that 30,000, bring that into the revenue line, that more than offsets the,
Yeah.
adding that back in there.
I agree.
So
So,
revenues add.
so you would still have 100,000 in that account.
Correct.
So you, and there's no penalty for withdrawing the
Nope.
30.
Okay, so we're going
We're gonna, so 30 on the revenue side,
18,453.
and another 6,000 back in, so that'd be
Yeah,
Right.
4,000 back in.
4,000.
So 199,876.
Well, isn't it media and program 2,000? Oh, each, okay,
Yeah.
4,000.
So
All
then
right,
the total.
161,403.
No,
Correct.
I have 190.
And 61,403.
I have 199 for that. Where are you at?
Are you in the
Yeah.
earlier memo,
What do you
Teresa?
got? What do you
Yeah,
got?
Dan,
that, she's looking at the 195.
Yeah. So what am I supposed to be looking at?
She came in with a budget that was decreased because of the 66,000.
That and the moving of employee benefits,
Right.
retirement was put
Right.
over into that particular cost. center.
I'm looking at the first line, not the second line. No wonder why I'm so off. Oh my God, I'm so
Okay,
dumb.
so you got another 30,000 in revenue,
Okay,
all right? That will help offset some of this.
Yeah, all right, but doesn't that number change
Bottom
here
line,
then?
no.
That one should change.
Yeah, when you add them all up, we're not done yet. All right.
I have a lightsaber.
Thank you. Administration. How old are these town records we're restoring, Sue?
I believe the next set are up to the 1930s and 40s.
Yeah, that can wait. They waited 100 years. Another year won't kill them. All right, we'll take that 4,000.
That's already,
Compensation training decrease, that's fine. Unless anybody has any objections, let me know. Wage and benefit updates, I'm okay with that. Animal control, where are we? Did you have a discussion with Casco?
I did.
And?
And I have no feedback. I told him what the, what the decision was, and Tony said he would get back to me. That hasn't happened. I mean, I communicated that right after your meeting, so it hasn't been a week yet, so. I have no information other than they have they have what we're willing to contribute.
Yeah, well, other than, I mean, so, and I understand I understand that, but if they have not agreed to that, we have, currently, we have an agreement, a signed agreement that says that we are on the hook for a third of that cost.
Correct, but I can't force them to make a decision faster.
No, but
Yeah.
the fact is, suppose
can't-
if he comes
yeah.
back and says no, then we're on the hook for that.
Right.
Because otherwise, you're putting in danger all the other interlocking agreements that you have with those. Because if you're unilaterally changing it without their consent, you can't do that.
Right, but I don't know what else I can give you tonight. I mean, he doesn't have the
Well, I
authority
mean,
to
the
say
fact
yes.
is,
No, it's gotta go to their select board.
Right.
So, the fact of the matter is, if they come back, if they come back and say no, then it's gonna come someplace else out of administration, because otherwise you're putting in jeopardy all your other interlocking agreements.
When is this contract up?
Isn't it July?
It's to be reviewed periodically. I think it was
It's just
signed
not-
back in 2018. It was,
Right, it's just been ongoing, I
It's
think.
been
and-
5 years
Yeah.
and no discussion.
well, I think there's been discussions every
this is-
year when.
There's
when the-
discuss, are you talking about the healthcare?
Yeah.
Discussion every year about that. That's brought up every year.
And they say no, and you say, okay? That how it works?
Well, essentially, we can't force them to change their healthcare program.
No,
So
but
they
you don't
are,
have to sign the contract,
well, then you don't have an ACO.
and you find one.
Well, you don't have it's more complicated than all of that, I guess.
Where's that truck from? The ACO truck?
Here.
We
Town of
purchased
Raymond,
it, but it's a three-way split on the capital cost, so we could buy out the other two shares. There'd be structural changes that would have to be made in order to have an ACO function if you just did that. We can do that, but it's not going to be, less than the contribution for the healthcare.
So can I also ask about the wages too? I mean, I'm seeing that it's decreased as far as the insurance goes, but how does it go with the salary too? Coming in and saying that she wants $4 an increase.
20% increase in wages.
Yeah. No other.
And no one shook their head at that.
I did. That's no other employee of the town of Raymond gets a $4 increase. So, question is, what do we do?
There's nothing we can do because we have a contract.
We have
Till,
to keep it in until we get word, or take it from someone else if it doesn't go.
what was that last part, Lonnie?
We'll need to, we're gonna take it out assuming that they're going to go with what we want. Then, when they don't, then we're gonna have to pull it from somewhere else. We have to pay that, it's our word. Or that's the agreement that we make, we have to until they, yes, we can, it's probably a 30-day, read up on the contract if there isn't a written thing saying to stop. But other than that, it's, we have to go with it until we hear from them.
See, I thought it was always the same thing as far as the budget. It went until June 30th, and then July 1st, it starts a new one.
I don't know.
So, all
I
right,
don't negotiate it.
okay,
It isn't really a negotiation at this point, and I guess it's going to be a negotiation next year. What we have is a partnership with them that's been ongoing to provide this service, and then there's, the issue of it's three people who have, a say in this thing, and so, my personal opinion was that we do it more incrementally, if you're talking about the salary, and, but it's a three-part, 3 towns.
So the other
And
towns are
then
okay?
and then the part about the healthcare, both John and I have referenced the healthcare.
Manager in Naples.
So both John, Holly, and I have referenced the healthcare issue, but it's the Casco Healthcare Program, and if we want to participate on the basis we have now, that's the program.
So, do we,
So if Casco says we're going to pay her $40 an hour, Raymond and
Well,
Naples say okay,
Well, no, we probably wouldn't say okay to $40 an hour, but.
but
you look at-
whatever
when you-
Casco
when you-
wants.
No, but when you look at,
it is kind of.
I mean, you've already decided, so just tell me what you want me to do and I'll do it.
I think you have to renegotiate this contract, but we can't take any savings until you do.
Correct.
And we can't even take that savings based on the new July 1st.
Right, we can't take anything.
I think just the whole deal needs to be pulled back together and renegotiated, saying, okay, this is what Raymond says we will pay you
Yep,
for your hourly, and everything along with it, Don. So it needs to be a better bottom line than it is right now. And it looks like it has to go in Raymond's direction of at least $3,278 one way or another.
I think the thought of being able to just walk in here and tell us what another town has and what another town is giving and saying, here, you've got to pay it, I have a problem with that.
It isn't that. It's 3 towns working together, and.
Not really, though.
Okay, just tell me what you want me to do and I'll do it. You want me to negotiate with the other two towns and say, this is what we're gonna pay? I've done that already with the healthcare. I said, this is what we're gonna pay. I don't have an answer. If we wanna say, well, this is what we wanna pay for the wage, I'll communicate that, and we'll get a response. And he said he would get back to me with their answer.
Well, at this point, you can't, the other thing you can do is what's been presented, because that's what, our agreement says we're gonna pay a third of that fee. So until such time as renegotiated, then we can't take the savings on it.
Right.
Because otherwise, we're putting other things at risk at that point.
So this total bill for animal control for all three towns is the 112,237?
Yeah, what you need to do though, Teresa, is their, under professional services, is their assessment from the Refuge League of 5214, so I backed that out. Because we have our own assessment. I mean, it's close.
Yep.
Ours is 6487, based on our per capita.
Well, I guess we don't have a
You
say.
have to add whatever it is back in. So you're at 42, I don't know.
With
Somebody
the
did
animal
that.
control. You gotta put the 3278 back in.
Yep.
It's really not good of us to go back to the other towns again. We should have had our stuff together the other day. We did the 3278, but we didn't really talk about anything else. Now we're gonna have another meeting and go back to them again. Maybe we're better off just to deal with the 3278 and the third match, and we'll leave that good for now, and then go from there for the future.
Problem is you're gonna go over budget if you do that. If the other towns say, no, we don't agree, then you go over budget by 3278.
The 36,
Correct.
I mean, it's not a lot, but
No.
I think it's the,
I think you have to add it back in.
what did you get for a number?
42, 161. All right, insurance premiums. A reduction?
Yes, isn't that good?
Our mod changed that much?
It did.
Wow.
Almost, a day after our meeting or something, 2 days?
Yeah, well, I hadn't looked up what the new mod was.
Oh, you hadn't looked it
That
up,
was on
okay.
me from the time I built the budget initially,
Okay.
so.
That's a nice,
That's a lot of money.
What's that, Lonnie?
That's 30%, right? That's a lot of money. Great. That's
Yep.
fantastic. That's a great improvement. You must have dropped off a really bad year.
Yes.
Yeah, that's great. We just gotta
Right.
push forward and do our best to be involved in as many cases as we can, so we can alleviate the costs and keep those years down, and at least get to 1 would be great.
yeah, good luck with that.
I know. Great job, Elizabeth, with the
Yeah.
30.
No, that's a pleasant surprise right there.
Yep.
All right, so we did fire department, we did rescue billing. All right, what are we doing with Chamber of Commerce and RTP?
Move those
TIF.
TIF.
Move it to the TIF? Okay,
Yeah,
and Raymond Rattlers?
that's being split between recreation and the TIF
Okay,
because of where the snowmobile trail goes.
all right. We added more revenue in.
So where are we at on the percentage?
We also increased the milfoil grant. We finally got word for
I
that.
see you got approved for that, right?
Yeah, so that added 24,871 in this year.
Okay, yeah, so the 52 is for the 2 years.
Correct.
Okay, yeah.
All right, so what does that put us at? Adding all that stuff back and new revenue and all that?
Can you give me a few minutes,
No.
please?
It's 10 of 7. I'm tired. Been a long day.
You haven't had dinner, have you?
Nope, he's hangry. You want lifesavers down there, guys? Anybody want lifesavers? I got a bunch.
Sure, I'll take anything. Got any sauce to go with it?
Hot sauce?
Nope.
Yeah.
And question. Oh, I'd love to have a lifesaver, Teresa.
Okay, ready?
Come on over.
We're gonna start throwing them at the screen. Open your mouth. Yeah.
I'm far away, or I'd be there.
One more.
So this 1.67% increase in revenue, is that correct?
I didn't have the 30,000,
Okay,
30,000 from the library.
all right.
The town of Raymond, as far as the employees go, I know 3 of them. Are the other 3 maybe the fire department?
The what?
The full, never mind, do your adding,
There
sorry.
was 2 in the fire department, and unfortunately, we just learned that one of our full-timers is leaving for Freeport right now. So we currently will have an opening.
In the fire department?
Yes, but we had 2 in the fire department that left. We had 1 in public works that retired. We had 2 in town hall that left for better jobs, and we had 1 in town office retire.
So you'll be looking for 3 full-timers now?
One to replace. He left for promotion, not because of anything else. He left to take the captain's position down there.
I'll wait to ask.
Will you be replacing him?
Numbers.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah, to replace him, yeah.
You got the memo on LD1, right?
Ships
And you all know it's gonna be on the ballot.
Did I prove them?
I don't think we need any discussion on it.
You have to decide, I guess, whether it's an increase or an exceed, though, right?
July 1st. I think
And
Okay.
Joe, on LD1, Kurt told me in a text
he's gonna have
that I should tell you that the current amended budget, the difference is now 300K instead of 500K.
It's probably smaller than that after we
Right.
added back some revenue and stuff, so.
Okay, so revenue changes to 18,761,860, an increase of 1.84%.
Okay.
If I plugged in all the correct changes to the departments, we're at 6.11. But I'm not sure what you decided to do about the fire department.
Okay, all right. Animal control, what do you have for animal control?
Adding back in 3278.
So the 42,161.
161, right.
Public Works is now at 933,056.
Hang on.
Yeah.
So,
I just want to make sure we're all in the same numbers. Recreation is now 163,004.
163,084.
Oh, 84, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, can we go back? Public Works, 933,56.
Yep.
Yep.
Animal Control, 42,161.
Yep.
And then library is 161,403.
Correct,
And recreation, 163,084.
correct.
Okay, so,
So we're at 6.11?
Yep. And CIP is 1,030,000.
1,030,000. CIP. All right, so we're 11 up on this one. So another question that I will be bringing up is, what do we want to do regarding the main PERS for the rest of the employees?
Not- I mean, not this.
That's not in this.
Well, no, that's why I'm asking. I'm asking, is it a consideration for this year or wait another year and check it out again?
Wait another year.
Wait, a-
So we have an article, of course, the authorizing article, we have a standard article, and then we've amended that article, so it doesn't include those employees, and it does not include the fire chief, it does include the deputy chief and the members of the union at this point.
Sorry.
What was that?
Yeah, I didn't get that.
Is it an additional handout, sorry? It
All
just
right.
came
No,
through
thank you for
today.
these.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I didn't realize they hadn't got that yet. Okay. You have to have an authorizing warrant article to join.
Lonnie, I can email it to you.
Thank you.
All right, so we have,
Yes.
If I get the right computer, I've got two of them going.
It's not.
So we're gonna have, in the same article then, wait a second. This is the bond one, correct?
You got the bond article as well. You got the main PERS, and then you also have to have an article. And that's just a sample. I mean, it's going to have to be fine-tuned, but it's the bond, you know, for the Public Works facility and the recreation tennis courts.
So where's the main PERS one then?
It's on the
You
front.
should have it soon.
But is it in the same article with?
No, they're separate.
Separate
They're
article.
This be separate warrant articles?
separate warrant articles, yeah.
Well, I
And
figured,
those aren't included in the warrant I put in your packet. I didn't realize that the union contract was already including the main PERS, so I didn't include that article.
Subject
And
to,
that's one thing that, if the town does vote that article down, it is required, if you're going to go with main PERS, to be a warrant article. If the town votes it down, you'll have to go back to the union contract, I would assume, and say it's not there.
it
It's
is,
written in
It's already in
the
the
union
contract.
contract.
that it's contingent on
The
approval.
Right, it's
Yes,
contingent. and-
Yeah, it would have to be contingent upon.
it is.
It is.
so what
So
are,
you're gonna remove C, I assume, right?
Remove what?
C?
to allow some.
That is basically a section of it to allow them to purchase prior service at their own expense.
So this is only for the fire department.
Right.
Only for the fire department, not for the chief.
And I guess I have to, why wouldn't we
Why
add
wouldn't
the
you?
chief in there?
I mean, you want that, I would think, you would want that as an option, because, so,
He retires.
maybe this chief doesn't, but if a new chief comes in, he's not gonna be allowed to go in.
We are reacting to the last meeting. And
The last meeting, the question was he going to join it? And the answer
We were
was
told
no.
yes.
It didn't say we were excluding him from it, it just said that, you know, so really the question becomes, if you're doing this and you're setting this in perpetuity, if you do that, then the chief position is excluded in perpetuity,
Right.
which is not what your intent is.
Correct.
The intent was that he's not, you know, the question was, if it's offered, is he going to take it? And the answer was no. So that was the question, not the statement that we want to exclude that position from being able to join that at a, you know.
Okay, so if we reword that warrant article to include the fire chief, then we're going to need to add about $10,000 to your employee benefit retirement budget, because I did not factor that in.
But if he's already said he's not,
No.
then
No, I heard at the last meeting that he was gonna take it. Lee did say that he was, they both were gonna take it. But I also have to say too, is I honestly thought it was just for the union members. I did not realize that the chief and the assistant chief were also available to get it. I thought it was just union, because that's, I think, because we were discussing it for the full-time union members.
Yeah, there's no way you want to exclude the chief.
Okay. So we need to add about $10,000 to your retirement budget to be, you know, to fund that position, to be able to participate, because I didn't.
And if he chooses to participate, you'll use the money. If he doesn't, it goes to fund balance, and you have it there for a future chief.
Yep.
Can I ask a question on A? Why wouldn't we take out including the deputy fire chief and just say all full-time regular firefighters EMS who work at least 2008? That way, if in the future you ever add an assistant chief, another deputy chief, anybody else, they're included because they're all full-time, they're all firefighters or EMS. Why single out the deputy chief and the chief?
Because they're administrative staff. That was the only reason why. Yeah.
And that was an article you got from Maine PERS, right?
Yes.
So, but it is a good question. What if you have other subclassifications, like lieutenants or captains or whatever?
It says full-time firefighters.
Right.
Yeah.
Aren't they covered? Just because they
That's
have a
what
title,
I would say they would be covered.
right? Just
It's a
because they have
sampling.
title doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, it's a sample. It's not,
So
Right.
take it out?
Well, I think.
No, you
Fee
have,
has
it
to-
has to be reworded, because you still have to have have the authorizing for people to be in it.
Right.
If you don't name anybody, then no one can be in it.
I think
Well,
I'm just
keep it
saying.
as regular
Full-time
full-time
firefighters,
firefighters
emergency.
and workers. Just take out including the deputy
Yeah.
fire chief.
Right, just take out that one little line and
That
then
one
you're
line.
good.
Those who work at least 2,800,
1,080
Hours per
hours
year.
a year. I mean,
a week.
yeah.
A week, yeah.
A week.
I know it feels that way sometimes, Bruce, but that's,
But but you might want to say 2,080 hours including vacation time or whatever you call it, because it's not just work time, because then nobody would qualify. Hey, that's a good way of doing it, then we don't have to pay anything.
including vacation and sick leave?
Yeah. I don't think you have anybody who works 52 weeks a year, right? People, most take vacation,
Mm-hmm.
right? All right, adding in 10,000, where does that put us, Bruce?
Okay.
goes into, ends up in where?
6.27% increase.
We're right back up to where,
No, we were well over 8.
no, I mean,
Right.
even when it came down before the first try.
How much will we have to remove then to get to 6?
So. About $18,000.
Can you guys find 18,000? Or you want us to do it?
Take it out of CIP. CIP doesn't necessarily have, isn't fully
Right.
committed,
I like that idea, yeah.
right? Because CIP is a forward planning budget.
Yep. Which line in CIP?
391, 280, 374,
Doesn't matter,
383.
you're funding CIP, so, I mean, you know, which line you're gonna say, I don't know.
Right.
16,897. Sorry, I was off. 16,897, 17,000.
Okay.
Tell you where you take it out of. Take it out of the accrual for the reval.
That's what I was thinking. Make the reval line
Take it out of the reval.
80,000.
Because then we'll just have to fund that going forward anyway,
Right.
so.
So the idea would be to commence the reval with the cumulative funds, and then in the, you know, we're gonna have progress payments like we will, you know,
Yeah.
that comp
Oh.
plan, and make the payment in a subsequent year?
Yeah.
That's what you're saying,
Yeah.
yeah? That
How
works.
much we have what? So.
Because
when
we've
you-
got 200, we've got
you
200, we've got 200 accrued
And
right
then you
now.
put
so-
another 80, you got 280, the reval's gonna be, who
It's gonna
knows,
take
400,
two-
500?
I don't think it'll be 500,
But 400?
probably.
So we'll figure that out when we get to it.
Okay.
Because that's probably 2 years away.
Right, it is, I would say exactly 2 years away. We were
So-
talking about that today.
Yeah, so
So you're at 5.95%.
there you go. We hit the target.
So we're keeping what is in here for the fire department as is. The 1246314.
Well, what they gave up for,
Right, but that is the number I'm taking it as. There.
yeah, the 126314, is that right?
1246314.
Oh,
I don't have a copy of that.
Yeah, 126.
1246
314.
All right. Everybody comfortable starting to vote on the warrants now?
Yep.
Are they gonna review?
Do we want to do the warrants, or do you want to talk about that bond thing first?
Well, since we're gonna be doing budget, we might as well talk about the bond.
Copy of the fire department's proposal.
So we're looking at probably a $4 million bond,
Yep.
15 years,
I think we were talking 20 years.
20?
Yes.
Just watch Teresa's head. She's like, of everybody.
20 years, 4 million. Paying what, 300,000 a year?
200 plus interest. Yeah.
God, my papers are so.
In our, I mean, I guess it'd be good to see, well, what would it be at 15 years instead of 20 years?
I don't know as I have that number from Richard Ranigan.
Yeah.
I did for 20.
The thing I'm thinking is we've got 2 bonds expiring by
Right.
the time this is going to kick in, so.
Right. How much are you having debt service payments right now, over the next 2 years?
570,000. Principal, 570,000.
But what are your payments?
Oh, 200,000 on one and 85,000 on the other.
So it'll be the same payment
Yep.
going forward. Why wouldn't you do it for 15 years?
I don't know.
I mean,
They go as long as 30, but
I know, but
think,
we're not
uh,
a town that likes debt.
yeah, no, I
We
get
like
it.
to pay it off quickly.
The only requirement is that those projects need to meet a 20-year threshold as far as life expectancy.
Right,
Right.
yeah,
And I think that's why
15,
we,
then they only have to meet a 15 year.
right. So we're talking $1 million for rec and $3 million for public works,
Oh, guys?
is that right?
Roughly, yep.
Yes.
Is $3 million enough?
I think so. Harrison's doing a building bigger than what I'm looking at for, they're all in at 3.7, and he's got over $1 million in groundwork. The plans from the Gloucester they're around 3. We need to back out a lot of the ground. They had a lot of excavating costs in that too. I think 3 is plenty. If we have to shorten the building up, we'll shorten it up.
No, you don't want to shortchange yourself.
Well, I don't think the 2 buildings.
You're planning for the future here. The only reason we're taking the bond out is for the future.
I think that 150-foot long buildings, probably 50 feet longer than I need. And I think a 100-foot building will fit our needs very well. The buildings that we're looking at, they don't have the storage that we have for the old sand salt building. So we're looking at maintenance bays, a wash bay, office area, and a lunchroom. So that kind of does scrunch us down a little bit more. But if you want to go 3.5, let's go 3.5.
I mean, what would 500 add to the debt service? Sharice, you know?
I'm sorry.
Rough order of magnitude, what would 500,000 add, or 500,000 more add to the debt service? So if you went 4 or 5 instead of 4.
Yeah, I didn't get that number either, but, and you want to split it out over 15 years.
Yeah. So you
I would go
check at
higher.
15 and 20.
Just
you know,
because
see.
you don't know what the costs are gonna be and the
That's why I
anticipated
think
costs.
3.5.
Check both 15 years and 20 years
He's not
at
letting himself short.
4.5 million.
At 4.5.
Okay.
So if we did 3.5 for you,
3.5 would more than cover it.
and then 1 for him,
Joe, you need $1 million for these courts?
no, not just for that.
Give
No,
it
not
up
a
here,
million
Joey.
for the courts, they were getting snugged here.
Part of that was the-
No, it'd be $490 for the pickleball tennis courts, that's
With
one
lights.
option. And then the other.
With lights,
remaining-
right?
With
Yes.
lights.
Correct, with lights. Without lights, it's about $275. And then we're looking at the Tasseltop Park sewer septic
Well,
snack
we've
shack
got-
building.
Yeah, that would be the snack shack building, but we've got money for the sewer.
You got money for the sewer
Right.
under.
Yes,
the
with the
ARPA fund,
ARPA,
correct.
yes.
So if you build this snack shack and everybody eats hamburgers every day over the summer, pays for the debt service?
No,
There you go, yes.
it's a lot of hamburgers, that's a lot of flipping hamburgers.
Nathan will help us.
Yeah, I'll help. No worries. We'll raise some cattle, we'll make our own beef. No problem.
All right, so we're looking at a $4.5 million bond for 15 years.
Okay, I'll get your revised numbers.
Okay.
Can
Is everybody okay with that? I mean, Lonnie, 4.5?
Yes, I think it's long overdue.
Yeah.
I think they're only gonna be as good as the supplies, the equipment, the people, the same, and it's needed. What's the figure? I don't know, but, I think what you guys are talking about, and it makes sense, and it makes sense to go to the 3.5, because he's questioning, you don't know what you're gonna run into in the ground when you start to dig. You don't know what a year from now it's just, there's a lot of unknowns in our world, so we're better off with 4.5 than 4. So yes, I think both items are important to the town, and
I mean, we're spending a lot of money on equipment now,
Correct.
and you want to store it where it's gonna be clean every night and not rust and, you know.
I'm worried about the mechanic climbing over the truck to be
Right.
able to fix
Or
it.
working outside in the middle of
Yeah,
winter.
no.
Makes no sense.
No,
It's not working out really well.
Right.
no, no.
So are these gonna be two separate bonds? One for the.
No, one bond,
One bond.
All in one?
one bond.
All right.
Mr. Chair,
Yes?
next Tuesday, the Budget Finance Committee is meeting to go over their recommendations for the budget.
Yeah?
That doesn't leave a lot of time to figure out if you want to go with a 15 or a 20-year
No,
bond.
we're going with 15.
And a 4.5.
Thank you, that'll make it easier.
Okay.
So we
At
can,
4.5.
and we can change the number here on the
Yeah.
draft article.
All right, so let's start going over the articles.
All right. With
All right. Do you want us to vote separately on every article?
Unless you want to do a bunch as a group.
I do one.
And it'll have to be with a caveat that the figures you're voting on are the ones that Sharice has updated to her spreadsheet, because I obviously can't update the warrant until she updates
Right.
all of her
So we're
numbers.
counting on Sharice to put the right numbers in the articles.
Between Sue and I, yes.
Oh, yes, I put them in and we proof it. We
Oh,
make sure
all
they're
right.
right, honest we do.
So-
With Article 3, that has nothing, well, it doesn't have nothing to do with the budget, but the state has said we can have up to 8%, so I put 8% in
Yep.
there.
Yeah,
but
that's
it's at
fine.
your pleasure.
So does that mean we have to do these separately?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there are a lot of.
Some of them you
bunch
really
anyway.
should, and I think this is one because it's not something you've discussed so far.
All right, Article 1. Have a motion?
Motion
No,
to approve.
you mean
Article 3 is where you would begin,
Article
sir.
3 is what you start with.
Oh, okay. So 1 and 2 we don't need to talk about. All right, Article
No.
3.
Motion to recommend Article 3.
Second?
Moved and seconded. All in favor? I'm going to go quickly. If you need to say something on the article, jump in.
got it.
Okay, Article 4.
Hold this one. This is the one that we have to change numbers, I believe.
Yep.
Correct?
Which one is it?
Article 4.
Yeah, but we
Well-
said that Sharice and Sue are going to change the numbers to match what we vote, what we
Motion to
talked about.
recommend
tonight.
Article 4.
You'll love our numbers when we're done on it.
I'm
Motion
sure.
to
we're-
recommend Article 4.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor? Passes. Article 5.
Motion to recommend Article 5.
Second?
All in favor? Article 5 passes. Article 6.
Motion to recommend Article 6.
Second.
All in favor? Unanimous. Article 7,
Motion
I'd like to talk about Article 7 for just a
Seven?
second.
okay?
That article has to do with the disposal of town-owned personal property. I had a discussion with Rolf today, and I'm in agreement with his suggestion. This may require some redrafting, but the amount of money that we're able to dispose of, property that has a value of $35,000 is increasingly becoming a pretty small number, which hamstrings us sometimes in being able to dispose of equipment and you know, what we're trying to do, as you've noticed, we've improved the fleets, both fleets substantially. We're trying to, run the smaller trucks, for, no more than, let's say, 6 or 7 years, somewhere in that range, and the bigger ones maybe something like 15. And what we've been able to do, I think I gave an example via email, where we were able to sell a truck that was about 7 years old for $33,000, just coming under the limit. And I think the original purchase, plow gear and all, was in the low 40s somewhere. That was just one example, but a better example would be that bumped up against the limit. One that went over was the Vermont trucks that we bought, all equipped. In order to sell them, we had to sell them in truck, plow separate, because they had a value above that $35,000.
What number you want?
I'd like $75,000 for equipment and vehicles.
And then, but we had a different figure for land, right?
Right. Not real property. For real property, you can stick with the 35. We don't, I mean, you can have whatever number you want there, because real property is going to be the Board of Selectmen.
So what do we know?
70, motion for 75,000.
Motion to recommend
Article 8.
75,000?
Article 7,
For Article 7?
75,000.
5,000.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Okay, Article 8.
Motion to recommend Article 8.
Second.
All in favor? Article 8 passes. Article 9.
Motion to recommend Article 9.
Second.
All in favor? Article 9 passes. Article 10.
Motion to recommend Article 10.
Second.
All in favor? Article 10 passes.
Article 11 will require some discussion, sir. Because there is no dollar figure there.
We don't have a number, do
That's
we?
going to have to be determined at the final meeting, I think. And
So hopefully in 2 weeks,
Okay.
Hopefully.
we will have a number.
right,
How many more attorney's bills have we gotten?
A bunch came in today.
none since we talked to you last, as far as I know.
He just said
I'm
a bunch
talking
came in today.
about well, you're talking about
Yeah.
the case we talked about.
Right.
I don't believe we got any in that.
Not in regards to the case.
No,
But I got 3 legal bills today to put it.
but those were Bernstein.
Right.
But
right.
still.
One was Bernstein. One was Pierce Hatwood.
Okay, I didn't see that
One
one
was
yet.
Bernstein.
That was the one for
was-
15, which we already factored into the
Okay, well,
amount.
that one we have seen. You said today, just Bernstein today is what I saw.
All right.
Yep.
Okay.
So in 2 weeks, we'll not vote on this tonight, but we will in 2 weeks. When we know if we have any money.
How's budget?
So it will need to go in the, on the ballot and in the warrant as only a select board approval unless the Budget Finance Committee wants to try and meet on August 12th to recommend it.
Why can't
Or not recommend
Why
it.
can't they just do a joint meeting with us on the 11th?
They could,
That makes more
but that would
sense.
be up to, I think I see Bob there in the
Yeah.
in the
that's fine.
audience, so
He's
I don't
waving.
know what Bob's thoughts are.
Yeah. On the 11th?
willing to meet together with you guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
'Cause we
So
don't
I'll
know.
set that up, Bob.
All right.
Well, they're voting on Tuesday. And are they going to have all these numbers for Tuesday to
Yes.
do their thing?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
The only one they won't have is Article 11.
All right, so we can't really vote then on Article 11.
Right.
All right.
All right, Article 12.
Article 12.
Motion to approve Article 12.
Do I have a second? Moved and seconded, all in favor?
Yep.
Article 13.
Move Article 13 to approve.
Second.
All in favor? Article 13 passes. Article 14.
Motion to approve Article 14.
Second.
All in favor? So this is the debt payment, which 2 of these will be retiring, the 2. So you'll have 295,000 that you can pay on the new bond if that passes. Yeah. Okay. All right, Article 15.
Move Article 15.
Second.
All in favor? Okay, move to Article 16.
Motion to approve Article 16.
Second.
Yeah, that reval reserve is going to go down to 80 on that article.
Yeah.
So, all right, all in favor? Okay. Article 17.
Motion to approve Article 17.
Second.
All in favor? Unanimous. Article 18.
Motion to approve Article 18.
Second.
All in favor? This is Rolf's favorite article.
One thing on that, though, I think there needs to be someplace
An explanation.
better explanation, because the bill is really not 974 for next year. It's 970, it's whatever the figure is, plus the carry forward.
Yeah, minus 200,000. So Sue, on that Article 18, an explanation that the county is going to a calendar year budget, and we are catching up in 5-year increment. So if you could explain, break out what that 5-year payment is.
So it's 80,574 on the transitional budget,
Yeah,
and then 893,751 on the regular calendar year budget.
correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you want that in the warrant article itself? That's the
Yes.
only thing that shows on the ballot. Any kind of explanation does not.
It
So
probably.
do you want me to add that wording to the warrant article?
I would, yes.
Yeah, it's an explanation. Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
All right, Article 19.
What is this one? What is that $1,000 for?
That's the fund
That's the bus.
that Don works with.
Oh, that's right, that's Dawn.
Because
Yeah,
we
you're
moved the
right.
other, we moved the
We
others.
moved 1,000.
We moved the others,
The TIF,
so
yeah.
that's the fund he has to work, to give to other agencies.
We moved 2,000 to TIF.
One was
The
for,
bus and
And
Sebago Lake Chamber was the
the
other.
Chamber of
Chamber of
Commerce.
Commerce.
okay, but we usually give him 2,000 to give out.
Right, so now it's 1,000 because the chamber's in the TIF.
So
Right.
you only have 1,000 to.
Yep,
That's
all.
it.
Motion to recommend Article 19.
second.
All in favor? Unanimous?
Motion to recommend Article 20.
Okay. All in favor? Unanimous?
Motion to recommend Article 21.
Second.
All in favor?
Motion
Unanimous?
to recommend Article 22.
Second.
All in favor? Article 23,
This is LD1.
yeah,
And we don't know,
Which-
yeah, we
Yeah.
don't know what that figure is yet until,
until the final budget is all added up.
so Kurt's gonna have to run that number for us.
Yeah, but we got the memo from Kurt, he just needs to substitute the number.
Yes,
Okay,
All
I'll
right,
get that from Kurt tomorrow.
all right.
motion to recommend Article 24.
No, I'm not sure, this is,
23.
Still says,
These-
oh,
24,
Oh,
we're not gonna.
I'm sorry.
we don't need 24.
why, we still have to recommend.
Those, we do need to ultimately, but we can't, they have they had their hearings and stuff on those?
On the zone, on
On the
the
zone.
shoreland zoning.
Alex is here, he can tell us where we're at on that.
Alex, where are we on these warrant articles?
Land use,
They have been approved by the planning board is where they are. Now, Alex is probably getting on too, but
Yeah, he is. Alex?
Can you guys hear me?
Yep,
there he is.
no babies crying in the background.
I got him in my arms, so you might hear crying. I can't promise anything. The update from the planning board would be everything that's presented here has gone through public hearings and is basically ready to go.
All right.
Alex, turn your picture on. We want to see the baby.
It's going to be scary, just letting you know.
What are you wearing, Alex?
Oh my God. Oh. So cute. Congratulations. Oh.
He's pretty chill.
Yeah, motion to approve the baby.
Motion to approve the baby.
Thanks, Alex.
All right.
Yeah, no problem.
Motion to approve Article 24, or recommend Article 24.
23 is going to be.
Wait a minute.
No,
wait a
23, we
minute.
have to wait
Okay,
for the
wait a
number.
minute. Before we do that, Sue, you have,
Oh my gosh.
you have
The
an,
recommendations I'll fix.
Yeah, you need to fix that in the recommendations, what article they're recommending, because they don't.
Yeah,
Yes.
it says Article 25.
Well, and most of these, or a bunch of these are going to change, and all of the ordinances are going to change with the numbering, because we're going to add the main PERS article and the bond article.
Okay.
So the article numbers are all changing. You're really agreeing to the verbiage in them. And I have run all of these articles by Phil, and he gave me the green light today.
Okay. So do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Lonnie, you there? All right.
Motion to recommend Article 25.
Second.
Language.
All in favor?
How much is that for?
Motion to recommend Article 26. This is crazy.
Second. All in favor?
Motion to recommend Article 27.
Second.
All in favor? Unanimous.
Motion to recommend Article 28.
Second.
All in favor?
Motion to approve Article 29.
We haven't voted. Oh,
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did.
Article 29.
Yep.
I need a second.
Second.
All in favor? Unanimous.
motion to recommend Article 30.
Second.
All in favor? Unanimous. All right. We got through that. Wow.
Good time, too.
So we're gonna throw in the main PERS one, we gotta throw
right.
in the other one.
We are now on public comment. Anybody from the public want to comment?
You know I would. Dennis Morris, 340 Cape, on the Budget Committee also. Just for the record, I was the first one to get up and vote or speak on behalf of the Sand and Salt Shed Public Works, so I'm not anti-Public Works. What I'm anti is the process we just used when we spent 2 years, 2 study committees, a need assessment, a cost analysis, and a really down and detailed understanding of what we were asking for. At none of the agendas was there anything mentioned about this $1.5 million garage. Not on Public Works presentation, not anywhere until the last meeting when you brought it up, Joe, and said, what's going on, Nathan, with this building? First time I heard of it. I don't know what changed between Town Hall's evaluation when they had 2 studies, Public Safety with 2 studies, to make sure we were getting the best bang for the dollar. No doubt he needs something. There's no doubt about it. I know a lot of that is down-filled. I know an engineer walked down around with him. I didn't see a report. Maybe the engineer said it didn't have to be dug up. It's a lot of backfill. I also know $250 a square foot from being in construction pretty much my whole adult life. Right now, isn't cutting much. There's also things that's going to come up like the oil collection, the drain tiles, all that sort of thing. I'm all in favor of putting $70,000 or $80,000 in to do an assessment, to get some people in here to decide whether or not there's other options. Certainly, there's got to be something else to do besides a $1.5 million when we just went through $11,000 of sand that we couldn't spare. Something's wrong here. I mean, $1.5 million?
3.5.
I mean, 3.5, I'm sorry. So that's a real concern of mine. And I wouldn't, and for transparency, I think the citizens, as well as everyone out here, would want to know why none of that stuff was done this time. Why it was never addressed on his formal presentation if it was this big of an emergency. I'm missing something here that you guys know that I don't, that would cause this to go from nothing on a presentation to you asking about this building. Got to be something here. Why we wouldn't want to study to figure out what $3.5 million is going to be used for. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. We just spent an hour and a half going through this budget in a very small way. I'm not even sure that you can get a structural engineer to review these plans that he may or may not have given to him. But there's nothing, no plan. Am I missing something? Is there a plan that's been presented that I missed?
Nathan?
First of all, I do have plans on this. I figured I'd ask for the money before I wasted $80,000, $90,000 on engineering and assessment needs and find out if the town even needed it or wanted it. I also presented it last year, and I presented it at my first meeting that we were looking into this. And the 3.5 million that we just got approved for tonight to go forward with is a starting point for the building. I wouldn't want to spend $100,000 of the taxpayers' money and come to the selectmen and have them say no. So I've just kind of reversed it, and we're gonna start the process. But it was presented last year during my presentation, and it was presented on my first presentation this year. Just the concept of doing it.
Concept.
And that's just all what we've done right now, is we've approved the concept.
And we heard about the trucks being too big for this fire station, and they can't work on the trucks indoors. They gotta go outdoors and work on them. And
This has been going on for
A while.
15, 20 years.
He keeps dropping it out there to let us know that it is coming. We are coming with this.
It's not on the agenda.
Would-
Not one agenda.
It was on my presentation.
Yeah.
You talked about a building,
Yes,
$3.5 million building.
I asked about a building. I didn't have a number on it.
You did, you ran a concept, I'd like a building.
he has plans. We have plans.
I've borrowed plans from, I've got Gloucester's plans and I've got Harrison's plans that we're gonna look at and see an assessment need off from that. Is this gonna fit? Will this work? We've already done soil samples down there. We did the sand salt building. When we did the sand salt building, we knew where we were gonna put the building.
Right.
So we've already done all of that. The septic system's already in down there, so we know where the building's gonna go.
Nathan, you know I support you on this stuff. I'm just saying the process is so convoluted. Anything I've seen in 25 years that I've been here in
I don't
Acton.
think it is, Dennis. I just reversed it.
What
I
study
went-
did you do?
I asked for the money, and now we're gonna go into the study. If the study fails, then we don't spend the money.
I didn't see it on any of the budget lines when you recommended anything. I went through the whole
It wasn't a
thing for the last
recommendation,
2
it was a
days.
discussion when we got up to do my presentation. I did my presentation. At the end of the presentation, we talked about the Public Works garage, and here we are.
I just don't think it's an emergency if it
It's
wasn't
not
on.
an emergency. I never said it was.
Great.
I do. I do, especially when we've got an employee that may get hurt, and then we've got a workers' comp thing, and he has been bringing it up a lot, saying, just a heads up, I'm going to be needing a garage, and it's been in conversations too.
It has.
And my fear is, again, something's going to happen because the garage is too small.
Just explain to me why you're opposed to a study, a needs assessment, and a cost analysis. I'm asking them.
Well, we haven't got that far yet.
They're the ones who just voted it in.
Well, they voted
Yeah.
it.
We need a garage. There's no doubt. We're buying all this new equipment, $400,000 a piece, and we're parking them out in the parking lot outside.
With a
That
mechanic
makes no
working on it
sense.
outside.
I'm just saying that it seems to me that there was little to no details. Again, maybe Nathan has drawings. No one on the budget committee's seen it that I know of. I've never seen the presentation on the drawings. I'm just saying,
We
it's,
haven't got that far, though.
right, well, we just voted in 3.5.
But it hasn't been voted.
That's got to go to the town. The town has to vote for it.
Okay.
And we're two years out.
Can we at least agree that this has never happened? This isn't an emergency situation. It's not an emergency situation.
Well, I think the longer you wait, the further we're going to have equipment sitting out in that parking lot.
This equipment does every storm.
And a
All
mechanic is
weather.
working
Right.
outside in it too.
Right, and it also needs a lot of repairs, and it needs to be cleaned up after every storm. And we're having people outside in 10 below zero weather trying to hose off trucks.
Joe, have you ever seen this go through anything, mine was a $950,000 building that took 2 years in many, many studies. I'm just asking you personally, have you ever seen anything go through so quickly on a 5-minute presentation at the last meeting? And I know you said you brought it up. I'm not opposed. I'm not saying you didn't. I saw nothing in the
Last year
budget.
and year before. But we didn't have anything to bring, Dennis. I would have to spend.
That's why you do a study. That's why you do this
Well,
cost
you gotta spend the
analysis.
money to do that, and I don't have the authority to spend that money on that.
We'll put it in CIP.
We just did. We're gonna start it now.
I'm saying I would change the recommendation to something like a $50,000 or $60,000 recommendation
And that's
to
gonna add
look at the needs.
another year, so it'll be 3 years out. It's gonna add to the expense. I'm trying to do this on
3 years out, you were talking about doing it the next spring.
We're gonna be, well, we've discussed that, and it's gonna be 2 years. I would hope that it'd be next spring, but it won't be. You're gonna be a year anyway. At the bare minimum, you're gonna be a year before you break ground,
Okay.
if you can get anybody to do it.
That's my opinion. I just wanted some transparency, and I want to know why you didn't do at least a basic study and then cost analysis. The trucks are getting wet, I guess.
Anybody else from the public? Okay, selectmen comment? I just want to thank everyone for stepping up and getting the budget to where it is. Still higher than what I would normally like, but in these times of expanding inflation and more needs as the town grows, you know, I think Raymond actually did a pretty good job of, I don't want to say, you know, a cliche word, it's a responsible budget and all that, but it meets the needs without going crazy, is kind of what I think.
Good leadership.
So, thanks to Don and his staff for putting in the hours and the work. Any other comment?
Move to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor? All right. Thank you all.